Hello, I'm probably going to do some paleo art today. Got some references for an animal called Stylinodon. I don't know how you say it, but yeah, and I've got Theo the dinosaur with me, and he's gonna stay right here. Let's go. So I've got an image of a bear digging for roots over there because this animal uh, that's what I wanted to do basically. I want to draw it digging for roots. So I'm not gonna draw exactly a bear because of course the Stylinodon isn't a bear at all. But I'm gonna borrow, take inspiration from the bear because yeah, they're not the same size either, obviously. But so yeah, you're gonna see me doing my weird sketches. I'm just mentioning this because I have everyone always told me I sketched thing super weirdly. My my art teachers didn't like how I was doing it. I don't know why. The thing is I don't do it the way I'm supposed to do. We should finish a sketch full uh, I don't know how you call that. The thing where you add lines everywhere and you go this goes there, this goes there. You're supposed to finish this before you you sketch the whole thing in detail, in full details. But I don't know, I like to have a general idea what I'm doing and then let's go. If you hear some weird noises, I'm not even sure you can hear them, but my cat is right next to the desk and he's I don't exactly know what he's doing. I think he's licking itself. I don't know. Ooh, that's a weird mouth. I'm not sure I like that. It's biting down and yeah, I'm gonna do some small eyes because when animals bite down, they have this tendency of closing their eyes, like crunch. Little ears, crunch, crunch. Okay. The jaw goes a bit like this, apparently. I'm not very familiar with this animal. To be perfectly clear, I don't research paleo art a lot when I draw it. I like to have a general idea of what the animal was like. And I'm like, what's a living animal from today that would do something similar, even if it's not from the same family? Like, is this an animal that would eat stuff dogs eat, cows eat? What would they do a lot of the time? And take inspiration from that. Of course, it doesn't always work, but I mean, I'm not an expert, I'm just doing paleo art for fun, so I don't know. And I don't want to draw animals that literally everyone under the sun has already drawn. Long tail. It's gonna be under some leaves, I think. I don't want to make it look too tropical because it would be wrong for the local climate of the time, but I want some big leaves here. I mean, he's digging for roots, so you can't, yeah, you have to have some shadows there. Nice roots, delicious. It's gotta be some small leaves because he's not digging up the roots of the big plants, but some smaller things growing over there. It's not a huge animal, or like a pig in size. I've always been fascinated by prehistoric animals. I'm pretty sure everyone on some level is fascinated by them. Like, everyone wants to know what happened before us on some level. My dad used to buy me magazines about dinosaurs and stuff when I was a kid. Very young kid at that. I was like 4. And I was really interested. I loved reading this and learning all the scientific names. I really don't like the mouth. Gotta add a little bit of whiskers, but not too much, because that's an animal that doesn't really have to hunt things. So, I don't know. Just a bit, not too much. Like that? Okay. Don't like the hair I did there either. Okay, we need more roots. Something like that here. You need to tell yourself little stories when you draw scenes like that from basically from scratch. What goes where? Where is it? This place? Well, what's happening in this place? Why is this animal here? What is it doing? Why? I think we're good. I think we can ink that. The ears. Small ears. Yeah, and I was super interested in dinosaurs, of course, because I mean, kids are always interested in dinosaurs, and it made me, weirdly enough, it made me super aware of the concept of death super quick in my life, because you know, when you learn how fossils are made. You have to understand, yeah, this animal had to die for this to happen, and then it went into the earth, and then this and this happened, and you end up with a stone with the shape of some parts of the animal. And as a kid, you can be like, oh, okay, or I don't know, extrapolate to yourself, and oh, maybe that's gonna happen to me someday. Should I worry about that? Oh, maybe it's gonna happen to some people I like. Should I also worry about that? And tiny Johannes over here was thinking about that a lot, a whole lot. And someday they went to their parents and asked a really, really important question, which was I don't recall that event. Let's be real. I don't recall it at all. But my dad remembers it, and he told me the question was, okay, so what's the point of living because death exists? And yeah, again, I don't remember this, but kind of a heavy question, kind of a heavy topic right there for 4 year old, and fair question. I mean, it was because of dinosaurs that I asked this, but fair enough. And I was really curious about this apparently, and um, it was enough to convince my mom to send me to a child psychiatrist instead of just trying to answer the question. She was like, "My kid is weird. Please solve this. I want. I don't want. I want my kid fixed." And that's. I don't. I'm not sure it's fair, but yeah. I don't remember the psychiatrist either very well. I remember talking a lot, and that was that. But yeah, when you're interested in dinosaurs, you have to face when you're young. You have to face the fact that yeah, they're all dead, and maybe you and everyone you know will be one day, and you're gonna have to deal with this. Okay, the teeth are cones like this apparently. Okay, there's a shorter one there, a big one here, and that's the root. Okay. I don't know what kind of root it is. I think it's some sort of potato. Okay. there's so much we learned since the time I was interested in prehistoric animals when I was a little kid. It's amazing the amount of stuff we learned in like 30 years. It's incredible. When I was a kid, frequently books about dinosaurs were all like, yeah, we are adding the colors we want because we'll never know what colors dinosaurs were. It's just we just have to imagine it. Really, we will never be able to know for sure. And lo and behold, no, there's been fossils with where you can analyze the pigments chemically and extrapolate some parts of the coloring, and maybe in some cases all of it on feathers, for example, and pycnofibers and stuff, and it's just incredible. And there's a lot of animals. Before we were like, yeah, I don't know, maybe some dots here, maybe I don't know, some stripes there. And now we are like, oh, that thing had stripes over its tail, and oh, this one was rust colored, and it's just incredible. And in what else are we going to find in 30 years? Things we know now will look ridiculous in 10 or 20 years. But that's how science works. It doesn't end. We can get a better understanding of things. We can never get a perfect understanding of things. A near perfect we can, for sure. But yeah. And I guess that's what's exciting about it, really. It's the same with history, really. When you think you know everything, that's when you start to become kind of dangerous for yourself and others. There's always things you can learn, and maybe these things are wrong, and maybe you'll know better later, and that's okay. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording there, and I'll come back when I have more memory space on the card. Okay, so we're back, and we're gonna do some shadows extra quickly here and there. Saying extra quickly because it's often the quickest part of any drawing. The main reason being that it's gonna be covered by other colors anyway, so I confess I haven't done my research, let's say, about this animal, Stylinodon. Apparently it's not a placental mammal, and this family of creatures seems to be kind of mysterious because we don't have a lot of fossils of them. Apparently because places where they lived weren't very good places for fossils, like very dry land. Makes you wonder how many fossils of current Australia animals we're gonna find later. Oh, more exactly, our really distant relatives are going to find in millions of years. Or maybe not our relatives, maybe a completely different animal. I don't know, don't ask me. I like putting shadows of leaves over it because it really drives home the fact that it's some sort of forest, but you can still see the sun, so it's not too dense. There's some leaves there, somewhere up there, but not too many. Alright. And we're almost done with this. I want the stuff in the distance to be clearer, so, and stuff here to be darker, so not gonna insist on the background too much. And really gonna drive home the fact that the ground is kind of dark. I'm still not sure how I'm gonna color this animal to be clear. I don't want it to look boring, but I don't want it to look too weird. I mean, it's a thing that it's roots. I'm not sure I can do a fancy coloring for that, or patterns. It wouldn't need it, I don't think. It's relatively big, and it doesn't have to hunt things either, so I don't know. We'll see. And I think we're good. See you later. Okay. Now it's time for some color. It should be super quick too, because it's rather what's English? Simple picture. I don't want to use too many colors over there. As you can guess, my cat is still here. So the thing I decided about this animal and its color is basically I've got a picture of a wombat on my computer right now, next to me. Oh, it's falling. And yeah, I'm not gonna try to imitate it perfectly, but general idea of it. Some brown, some blue. We've got this very dark brown. Let's see. Yeah, something like this. This very neutral grayish brown thing, like this, on its broad face. And we're gonna go for a bit more color there, but not much, and I'm not even sure we're gonna see a difference after I put the ink on. Okay. I want the root to be visible. I'm gonna go with something a little bit red. Of course, the mouth has to be red as well. A bit. Ooh. I don't want the color to bleed, so I'm gonna touch it like this. Okay. And this is the fun and subtle part. Now you see why I wasn't very careful about the shadows, because they're disappearing under all of this. It's gotta be a bit dirty after digging like that. Okay. Sometimes I get people who are like, "How are you doing this with watercolor?" I can only do really washed out things, and usually they're talking about this kind of thing, and it's because I don't stop there. I add more layers on top of this, but I do have to do this first. And see this covering the green leaves, not an issue. I'm gonna cover them even more. I like what it's doing. Again, nothing too precise. Gonna need a little bit more water and a bit of yellow, and I think we're good with the watercolor. Oops. This creature's been looking for nice roots all day, and finally a tasty one. Very, very happy. I always disliked when I was younger, when all paleoart was like carnivores hunting herbivores, fighting to the death all the time, instead of just, I don't know, animals being animals and being a bit silly, sleeping, rolling around, stuff like that. And we're good for now. You're probably going to hear my cat a lot because there's a bird on the wall, and the cat doesn't want that to happen. So yeah. So anyway, we are doing inks now, and now I'm gonna put some blue here. There's a bird. Can't you see there's a bird? There is a bird. I want the bird. I'm gonna make blue shadows here and there. That's cobalt blue ink. It's kind of an electric blue. It almost has, it's weird to say, but I think of it as a redder blue than China blue, which doesn't really make sense. It's just my dumb brain and colors. It's a long story. Yeah, it's a weird relationship. The way my brain understands colors is not how teachers explained colors to me at all. What makes it even more complicated is that sound and color tend to be the same for me, so the same general idea. I mean, of course, obviously I know when a sound is a sound and a color is a color, but I find it difficult to describe sound without talking about colors first, and colors and shapes have sort of noises, vibrations to them. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, it's not weird for me, but it's always very difficult to explain. I don't know. So yeah, that's some extra shadows with the blue. That's sanguine ink. For years I used this because it was in my set, and I had no idea it wasn't just red. I thought it was a basic red, but no, it's blood red. And yeah, you're not supposed to use it like a basic red, and I did so for 5 years, which is a problem. I couldn't figure out why all my oranges were weird, and then I figured it out, and I was like, oh no. And super recently too. That's a warm brown. I'm gonna put some on the trees right there and in the background. I'm pretty sure you can still hear my cat. Oh, I've ruined this blue. Ah, too bad. Too late. Too late. I can't stop, it's too late. Accelerating far from ground. The sense that gravity is decreasing. Okay. That is darker brown, a sadder brown. Kind of tobacco brown. I don't know if that speaks to you, but the cat is using his best acting to convince me he's super sad about not being able to kill this bird. It's not working, let me tell you. I think the bird is nice where he is and not inside of my cat. Okay. I know that's kind of a reckless way to use inks, like putting little dots here and there like this, but I know I have one teacher a few years ago who was horrified every time I was doing this. But yeah, that's how I work, so I'm gonna try to put a little bit of China blue, but not a lot, because I know I tend to overdo it in every drawing, so I just want these leaves to be nice. And cobalt blue makes for a very sad green, very dry green. It doesn't sing a lot, so I don't know. I want it to be more happy. The reason is I'm going to put yellow over everything in a bit. So that's not the definitive greens in that drawing. I don't know. Some shadows look extra good with a bit of China blue in it. In them, what's English? Here comes Johannes. Oh shit, what's language? Oh shit, what's English? I've been trying to learn more languages, but I'm not very good at them because I don't have enough occasions to practice them. Years ago I was learning German. I can barely say very simple things anymore in it, and I can barely understand like a news report in German anymore. I've been trying to learn Korean, but I don't have the time anymore. Dinebizad too, but I don't know. I used to have more time. Okay, we're gonna let this dry. Okay, so this is probably going to be the longest part. We are gonna add highlights with a Nivori watercolor pencil and a Posca, a white Posca. Or maybe it won't be that long, I don't know. I realize I don't have many things to say about this animal, and it's because before today I didn't know it existed. Well, I didn't know it used to exist would be more correct here. So yeah, I'm trying to accentuate the fact that there's leaves over there that we can't see, but they are projecting some little shadows and dots of light here and there. I'm not even sure the plants I drew here are accurate or not. I mean, plants in Eocene weren't that different from today's plants, but I haven't really done my homework. I just know that thing lived in a kinda dry climate, and that's basically it. I just printed a couple of refs, the forest and things, and for the rest I'm just rolling with it. So the thing with this kind of series of drawings about underrated prehistoric creatures I've been making for a while now, the main thing about it is, since they are underrated, it's kind of difficult to find illustrations of them, paleoart of them, made by other people. There's always some kind of art, maybe even great art. For this one I found a couple of really good drawings and digital illustrations of of that guy. But of course, there's less diversity and choice than with the super popular what's English animals out there, which can be a blessing and a curse actually, because again, references can be hard to find, but it also means nobody tried to make it look cool like a lot of dinosaurs and various animals which can be perceived as cool. Like, oh, it was a carnivore, yeah, let's give it giant teeth and stuff and a badass look, and yeah, you know what I mean. So in a way, it's harder to get these less well-known animals extremely wrong, but you don't really have a lot of visual references to help you. Also, there's an issue that frequently happens in that case. It's someone draws a thing, and for a while it's one of the only drawings of the creature, and so people who are trying to draw it afterwards borrow heavily from that drawing, and you end up with a lot of drawings that look like each other, and that can be a problem because maybe the first person overlooked some aspects of the animal, maybe they got something wrong, maybe it's good but it's also highly speculative, and it would be great if other people would try to find something different to represent the animal. There's a lot of issues when that happens. For some dinosaurs, there's also some specific poses where you're like, oh, I know where that comes from, and you identify the references they use. It's much faster. It's going much faster than I expected. I mean, obviously I'm not at all professional when it comes to paleoart. I didn't even study. It's not even my field of study. I'm in history, not paleontology. Sadly, because that's what I wanted to do. But history is super interesting as well. But it's just not what I really wanted to do as a kid. But who knows? Maybe one day things will get better and I'll be able to study again. I don't know. We'll see. Or maybe there'll be online classes. Online classes are great. Sadly for now it doesn't exist in my country. I wouldn't even know how to specialize actually. There's so many interesting things. I love Permian. I love Trias. I'm really fascinated by that point in Trias, during Trias, where it rained almost non-stop for like 2 million of years, I think. It's so weird. Everyone's always dinosaurs this, dinosaur that, and yeah, they're of course they're super interesting, but so many weird things in prehistory. Sometimes I go fossil hunting in Normandy, in a place called Les Vaches Noires, the black cows, and it's one of the rare places where you can legally fossil hunt, because it's just cliffs alongside a very long beach, and the rocks just tumble from the cliff and onto the shore, and the sea just cleans them up, and you just have to walk and pick them up, really. You just have to be careful about not climbing the cliffs, not going too close to them, and that's about it. Kids can do it, and they can find stuff super easily. It's really good. Very relaxing too. You just walk around, you look at rocks. And you can find some really, really cool things. It's mostly from the late Jurassic. There's a lot of stuff from the Oxfordian stage. And there's a lot of ammonites, belemnites, stuff like that. Small shells, but very, very cool small shells. And yeah, it's almost impossible to go there and find nothing. You'd have to not look at all. Like one time there were like 3 kids and their mother, and they were like, what you doing? And I was like, yeah, I'm looking for fossils. They were like, what? Okay, yeah, you can find lophas here, and that's a type of shell. And they were like, oh, well, what does it look like? And I showed them, and we start looking around, and in like 2 minutes they found some of them, and they were super super hyped about it. I was like, yeah, that's seashells from the time dinosaurs were on Earth, and they were even more hyped. Yeah, I think maybe this plant, maybe a few dots there, yeah. This, I don't know what these are, I just the claws, maybe teeth. And yeah, I think we're good. The last thing I'm gonna do is making the second line art with a pen, but it's not particularly interesting because it's the same as the first line art. So yeah, I think we are finished. I'm I'm just gonna sign it yeah, the second line art, that's the last thing I'm gonna do after that. And you'll see it in the finished version on my blog. So yeah, have a nice day.